Welcome to Board Ghost, a story broadcast with games as the engine.
If living is a highway, then heaven is a bus stop. Been waiting for a minute there, or has it been forever? 'Cause dying don't agree with me, no. Dying don't agree with me, no. All you board ghosts, come with me, we're going home.
We believe you're out there, hungry for stories for shared experiences. We can't see you, can't hear you, yet we will play for you. This night's offering is Fiasco. If you want to learn how Fiasco is played, go listen to our primer episode. The playset we're going to be playing is Cults of New England by Sean Cox. Our humble players, myself, John Holt.
With you as always, Ken Breeze.
Stacey Douglas Moverly.
And Stephen Moverly.
All right, and so the playset, before we get into building our grid, is a 1930s creepy New England town, Depression-era Lovecraftian pulp horror thing. So
Love it.
Dunwich Horror, Mouth of Madness, Call of Cthulhu, sleepy New England town full of
Dark
miscegenation
evil
and
Did you just say miscegenation?
yeah, they like the xenophobia.
Yeah,
and,
definitely xenophobia.
well, that's what. Well, fear of the miscegenation.
Sure, of
of the
course.
well, people mixing with fish.
I know. I don't want to mix with fish.
People becoming
Who
their
knows?
baser selves.
Yeah, right.
All
I
the
mean,
messed up stuff that Lovecraft
in the mouth of madness. Yeah, I love it. Love it. Oh, and welcome to Steve.
Yeah,
thank you.
First episode.
Yeah, first
And-
episode on our 10th story.
10th story, man. That's big
I'm
time.
honored.
Good
to
place
be
to
here.
start.
Yeah, good place to start.
Cool. So the way this works, we're all going to roll our die. Everyone has 2 black and 2 white die. We'll roll them up and create a pool. I guess we're all rolling individually. Sometimes we just do the whole
We're
pool.
wrong. We're all part of this together.
And so then we generate our pool, and from that pool we will generate our grid. All right, so we've generated our grid, and we've built our characters. And Ken, why don't you go first?
You know, I'm getting a real sort of Sleepy Hollow vibe. So I went with this idea that we're in a New England town where there's a sort of a lot of German and or Dutch sort of influence. So I went with Professor Archibald von Thornton.
All right.
And the professor works at the local university. He is a law professor, has an old student who's come into town, but he's also the keeper of an ancient secret as well, or a secret. Perhaps it's not ancient, but I like to think it is, since my character is sort of ancient. I think my character is old. Let's not forget that World War I just ended, recently. The Great Depression's just starting to hit, so things are really not going that well. He's one of the only law professors at the university. I feel like the university has had to let a lot of people go. He's very happy because finally the prodigal son has returned. He has a new old student who is a new friend, who I'll obviously let Stacey introduce.
Okay, my character is Roger Morris. He is a young guy, kind of his mid-20s. He actually grew up here, and he studied under Professor Von Thornton. He has left town and is actually returning as a visiting professor. But in actuality, he does work for the FBI, and he's been sent back to this town to try and investigate some weird stuff that seems to be happening at the university. And he's hoping to be able to use his relationship with Professor Von Thornton to see if he can get some inside information into what's happening.
And what's your relationship to...
My relationship with the gentleman to my left, who will let himself introduce himself, is Conman and Mark. I'm the conman in this situation because I am not letting him know that what I'm actually here for. He thinks I'm a visiting professor that grew up here, who's coming back into town.
Is that what I think?
I don't know. That's what I'm hoping you think.
Okay. My character's name is Skippy Von Trapp. I am a young student at the university.
Yes.
Probably a TA of some sort. Yeah. I have also a new found member in the local cult, and sort of been taken under the wing of John's character.
Yeah, so I am Judge Argus Wroth. I have been sort of a patriarch in this town for decades, meting out justice and making sure the right elements are kept in the town.
Yep.
Very important, and also protecting the town secrets, both mundane and those of the cult. So I'm high level in the cult. I don't quite run the cult, but I am on the tribunal. I'm on the board of cult members. With Professor Von Thornton, we have a shared secret.
We do.
Perhaps we both, just being in this town long enough, his inquisitive nature led him to learn some things. Maybe we have a collaboration. Maybe we have some understandings.
Yep.
But we'll let that play out.
We also have 2 different needs on the table, which is really great this time around. We have the need to get the truth about the secret ingredient in Madeline's pies, which should be very interesting. And then we have the need to get respect from the cult by taking over. What that means is to yet be determined.
All right, and we've got a location and an object. Our location is the University Research Lab, and the object is information, a single word on a scrap of paper.
The information.
Get it? Is it safe?
Get the information.
Is it safe? All right, so gang, we're going to take our characters and our grid and get into our story.
Here we go with some Fiasco. First scene at the research lab, the University Research Lab. It is a fundraiser, a small wine and cheese night that both the judge and the professor are at. And they found a moment alone on the balcony. It is nighttime, of course. We're going to say that it is a pretty sticky night. Both the professor and the judge do enjoy a good cigar now and again, and they have stepped outside to smoke a cigar and to apparently discuss important matters. As the professor looks at Judge Wroth and says, "The research here is very important. I do hope you're considering making a sizable donation."
I understand the need to maintain our history and to keep the humanities going. I can't stress enough the importance that people know how to speak Latin, Sumerian, and Aramaic. Very important, not quite dead languages. But this science, the wave of industrialization it's uncouth. It's unnecessary.
I understand where you're coming from, and the classics will always be very, very important to this institution. They are the spine that keeps everything up. But we must look towards the future, my friend, and we must understand that change is coming, and we must prepare for it.
I mean, we both know that there's an inevitability that something is coming. So what is the point in these doodads and gewgaws, these toys that attempt to pierce into some sort of knowledge, some sort of truth?
We have had this conversation many times before, and I know we will again. I know you prostrate yourself in front of the divine, and you believe it will guide us all. I still think man can kick, though. And these endeavors may well be the blade we will need.
I don't think that we're meant to pierce the darkness.
As I said, we'll have this conversation many more times, I'm sure. Will you give the same as you did last year, or no?
I'll have to consider.
We'll have to take the scene. So now, Stacey and Stephen, please let us know, is it going to go positively or negatively for the professor in this scene? Will he be getting what he wants or not, or just in general will things go positively or negatively? And then hand me one of the positive or negative die.
I don't think this is going to go well for the professor.
Oh man, brutal. Okay.
I'm going to have to review the endowment this year.
I see. And the professor becomes very cold as he sort of his back sort of straightens, and he says, He says, I think this Cuban might be a fake, and throws it on the ground and steps on it as he walks away.
The judge drags on his cigar and blows it out slowly.
Roger is also at the fundraiser. He has just recently gotten into town. He had been in contact with the professor and was hoping to run into him here at the fundraiser. So he's there greeting the few people that he remembers, but a lot of new faces are here that he doesn't know. So he's just kind of searching the crowd for the professor.
The professors come in from outside on the balcony. Is that correct? And they see each other, I guess. Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And he says, my boy, and he sort of like trundles over. The professor obviously is dressed in a corduroy three-piece suit with patches on the elbows and a bow tie of polka dot red and white. The professor has sort of a Colonel Sanders look where he has sort of floppy white hair and speckles. He even favors one of his legs with a very finely wrought cane with a weird cap, like the scales of justice. And so he's like trundling over to Roger and goes to embrace him as he welcomes him to the party.
Roger gives him a very warm hug. Oh, Professor, it is so good to see you.
And you, my boy, I'm so happy you have decided to make your home here once again. You, as I've written, were one of my best and brightest students. I'm so thrilled that you're here.
Well, it was easy to learn a lot under your tutelage, Professor.
Well, you've been gone so long. We must see what you have learned since then. I will expect you tomorrow early. We'll have a class on the ethics of war.
I look forward to it. Roger excuses himself from the professor, and he starts to look around, just trying to get a lay of the land and seeing who else is there. And he happens to notice a young student kind of in the corner who seems to be setting up some things.
Probably setting up drinks.
There you go.
As he's preparing to pass through the crowd, handing out beverages to the potential donors and faculty members alike.
So Roger goes ahead and, takes one of the... Are you a student here?
Oh, yes, I am. I'm studying arcane languages.
Oh, fascinating. I had no idea that department was still around.
Oh, yeah, it's quite popular here. One of our more well-known departments.
Interesting. Roger Morris, by the way.
Oh, Skippy Von Trapp.
Nice to meet you. I've actually was a student here myself
Oh,
a few
really?
years back. Yeah,
Oh, really?
I've come back to do some teaching of my own.
Oh, what did you study while you were here?
Law, actually.
Oh, really?
Under the Professor Von Thornton.
That was a notable professor.
Very much so.
Yes.
Well, I'll let you get back to your duties.
Thank you.
And then Roger just kind of surveys the crowd and tries to see if there's anybody else that he recognizes, but nobody that he feels confident, like, going up to approach. So he kind of looks around a little bit more, melds out, and decides to leave the event. He decides that he wants to try and look around some of the offices to see if he can get into some of the offices around the research lab to maybe kind of...
While
everyone was otherwise
mingling.
occupied and
That's
mingling with the
right.
things. So
Yeah.
he's going to look around and
Sort
see
of
if he can
snooping around.
Yeah.
snooping around to see if
Snooping
he can
around.
kind of figure out where some of these offices are that he might be able to go in and see, gather some information. Actually, it's the professor for ancient languages. It's their offices, their wing is kind of farther down. So he's headed over there just to try and see if he can get some information of where the office of ancient languages is, because he figures that that's going to have something to do potentially with the cult.
So you get there. So I think this is a good point to drop a die.
Mm-hmm.
Ken, what do you think? How do you think it will go?
I think it goes. I think it goes poorly for Roger.
So Roger notices that the door's cracked open, there's a light. He kind of looks around the hall, doesn't notice anybody. And he looks into the office, doesn't see anybody. So he goes in, and he is very, eager to do his job. So he starts ruffling through desks.
And there's some stone tablets on the desk, too.
That are on the desk, and he's just trying to... Some of the stuff that he's not really sure what this is, so he's, like, ruffling through. And then he hears "What are you doing in my office?"
What are you doing in my office? Says the professor of ancient languages. Who are you? What are you doing here? Are you lost?
Oh, yes. Sorry, sir. Roger Morris. I'm a visiting fellow going to be teaching some classes here. I was looking to leave you a note. I was very interested to find out some more about your program.
Well, I don't have any time to talk now, and you shouldn't be in here. Make an appointment with my secretary, Madeline. She will be the one who will be able to find you time.
Okay, thank you,
It's
sir.
best you should leave.
Yes.
Who are you working for?
I'm a visiting professor. I'm actually going to be teaching 1 or 2 classes here, but I was studying under Professor Von Thornton, so...
Archibald? I will speak to him about this.
Okay. And so he backs out of the room.
Bradford Guier
Bradford Guier. Love him. Yes.
is our professor of ancient languages.
Yes, our professor of ancient languages.
Why don't we flash forward to a dark underground chamber
Nice.
lit by torches as I and my fellow cult members are chanting as the high priests finish the evening ceremony.
With some like H.P. Lovecraft AMSR for everyone.
Yeah.
Nice though.
Be
What kind of iconography is around this cult? What do you
what do you
we
got
see
going
on
on?
the walls and stuff?
it's sort of this. I'm gonna go more traditional Lovecraftian, sort of like tentacly, fishy-looking creatures.
We're on the shore of an underground lake.
Yeah, why not? I like that.
Sightless, eyeless fish floating in the torchlight. You can see their pale bodies.
Abnormally large, and I will seek out my mentor in the cult. I'm eager to progress along the pathways of our order. Want to find out how best to go about doing that next.
I'm on the second tier near the stone altar. So there's sort of the high priest who's at the altar, a tier of the elders, and then the third tier of the caliphates.
All right.
Sure. The guys. He's wrapped up. He's polished with this rag, and he has something in there that he throws into the frenzies, the sightless fish. The priest and we all kind of say our ogoroth moroth and tentacle cross ourselves. We wiggle along
Perform
our
the
chest.
tentacle cross.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
And then and sort of step off of the tier, and I'm heading my way out.
Hi, elder.
Recruit.
I was wondering what lessons I should learn from this particular ceremony.
Well, you know the chant,
I've learned the chant, yes.
and you know the surface meaning.
I don't know if I'm sure, but completely learned in the surface meaning.
Initially, you should understand the surface meaning of the chant. Yo Sorath.
Oh, yes,
O
yes.
Sorath. You mean he who is what. That is a simple sort of prostration of ourselves as nothing to it
Yes.
above. So that's the simple base. Once you understand that, there are a few levels of meaning that you're going to have to work in for yourself.
Very interesting. And is there a way that you would recommend I go about doing this?
You'll have to prove yourself before you're allowed into the mysteries.
Interesting. Okay, good. I can do that. I'm sure there's some way I can prove myself.
I will ask towards the other elders and see if they feel you open for a task.
I would greatly appreciate that.
What do you think, Stacey?
I think it goes positively.
Me too.
All right.
Okay.
it's going good for
so
us.
I sort of turn and in a language that you've not yet learned, say like, and we go, we all nod and in unison, and they turn to you and say, expect a red envelope
When?
before the moon sets tonight.
Ooh, okay. Thank you. I scamper back up.
After the ceremony, in my sub basement.
Your sub-basement layer?
Yeah,
Got it.
Your personal
I dig the underground.
Yeah.
You know, my bald. I have a bald, sort of barrel-chested man.
Yeah.
Short in stature, but thick. And you don't see me though. You just see this pool of milk. And I slowly rise out of it. And this milk is dripping down, this goat's milk.
Yeah.
I feel refreshed. And I step out of this
Invigorated
pool of goat's milk.
Revitalized.
And put on the robe. And I hear the bell. Someone's at my door.
Ding.
So I go up. I open my own door. It's late at night.
No.
The judge...
It's a small town.
Yes, he opens his door and there's Bradford Guier.
Bradford Guier. Of course. And he says, Hi, Elder. Something is amiss. Something is missing from my office. One of the tablets that has recently been returned from the ancient land. I saw some squirt of a student in there. I think he may have stolen it.
Which student was this? When was this? Was it that?
Some law student? I don't know. Zach Morris, perhaps? Something like this?
I ring. I pull a pull and pull out. I have this tube thing, and I pull the plug on it and say, "Gaver, awaken! Prepare the coach." Shortly, a gasoline-powered horseless carriage pulls up.
Nice.
Sputters up in front, Model T or something, and we go, "Take us to Van Thornton's. Will he be at the offices or will he be at his home?" Yeah.
No doubt at home at this hour.
All right, forward, Gaver. And so on, we zip in through the night, wending our way through the small New England streets, tight. Just our headlights barely marking the path in front of us.
But yeah, such activity is noted, of course, in this sleepy town.
So off we go, sputtering, and we pull up with a gravelly crunch in front of Van Thornton's abode.
You guys knock on his door. You can see what looks to be the brightening of like a kerosene lamp or something like that from the inside. He shows up at his own door as well, pulling curtains across. You can see sort of his disheveled hair. He has a sleeping stocking cap on with sort of a little pom-pom on the end of it. As he opens the door, it's obvious that he's like in an overrobe that's made out of purple velour, and he has slippers on. And he says, "Oh, a little late for a visit, Judge. Come in. Can I offer you a pipe?
There's no time for
something to
niceties,
drink?"
Thornton.
What?
Yeah, tell him what you told me.
And the ancient languages professor relates his concerns.
You don't want to talk to yourself?
I know. That's like the worst thing any DM can ever do. Like start talking to themselves to NPCs.
We're a GM-less party.
I know. We're all DMs, and none of us are. So the ancient language professor relates the information to the law professor, and the law professor says, "I'm so surprised to hear this. This can't be true. At least allow me to speak with young Roger. There must be some sort of mistake. Who knows? You if you did not see him with the tablet, he might not even have it. Someone else may have taken it. Judge, I'm surprised you're here. Perhaps I am not so surprised. Yes, I will."
Get me the address. Where is this Morris staying?
I'm actually not sure where he's staying, but let me see if I can conjure it in my memory.
All right, and then I think we'll go to the die for that one. What do you guys think? Will it go well or bad for Argus Wroth?
I think it would go well for Argus Wroth.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
The professor gives the address over, obviously, after finding it in a letter of correspondence that he has had with Roger. He's staying at almost like a boarding house downtown.
Yeah. Well, so the judge gets the address
yeah.
and says, "Gier, take yourself home. Gavers, take me home, but stop by this residence later. I'll give you a description of what you're looking for." All right, Prof, you're up.
The professor is very worried about his young student, especially getting mixed up with the likes of Argus Wroth and his coterie. Professor's lived in town for a long time, sort of knows what's what. With his sort of shared secret with the judge, he has an idea about what the judge and his ilk are about, but tries to stay out of those things as best as possible. But now, with a student in danger, perhaps, I think he goes into a little bit more of action, and he will go to the try and get there before everyone else, I guess. He's going to try and get there somehow. So let's say he does, however he does that, whether he rides a horse or, I don't know, who knows how he gets there.
He gets on his bicycle.
Gets on his bicycle. That's perfect. He does get on his bicycle. He rides his bicycle there.
Pedals through the night.
Paddles through the night without even taking off his overcoat, or his overrobe, as it were, or his stockings. He's still in his smoking jacket, in his slippers, pedaling through the night. He is able to get to the boarding house and get to Roger's room, and he's knocking on the door. Roger lets him in, and shutting the door behind him, he says, I don't know what you've done, but you've run afoul of someone.
Professor, what are you talking
I'm
about?
so sorry. I'm flustered. You must understand. There are forces in this town that you do not understand. They look out for themselves, and if you fall on the wrong side of them, things can go very poorly for you. I care about you and about your future. You must tell me, did you take anything from the research lab tonight?
Professor, we've had a very long relationship, and I really have a lot of respect for you, sir, and I feel I should be a bit above board. I'm not entirely truthful with you of why I'd come. I'm not just come to be a visiting fellow here. I was actually sent here. I'm been sent here to try and investigate some of the stuff that's going on at the university. And I knew you would not have anything to do with it, but I figured you might be able to give me some clue as to what was going on. You've probably talked to the professor of ancient languages. He caught me in his office earlier.
Yes, I did speak with Bradford tonight. He was quite flustered. He said something was missing from his office.
I have to admit, I was looking at a tablet and he startled me, and I took it with me when I left.
You took the stone tablet? Why would you do such a thing?
I was a bit flustered at the time, and I thought I could study a little bit more and try and figure out what was going on. I was hoping he wouldn't realize that it was missing, and that I'd be able to sneak back in and get it back into his office before he went in the morning. I'm supposed to make an appointment with his secretary, Madeline, and I was hoping to get there and slip it back in before he actually appeared.
I don't understand. You've broken the law. This is unacceptable. I don't understand why you've done this. I think I must perhaps inform the authorities. And I think that's where I think I'd love for the scene to get started deciding about how it goes for me.
I'm going to say it goes good.
I mean, unless you can tell me what you're doing with this stone tablet, I don't understand. There can't be a legal explanation for this.
He walks over to his bureau and opens it up and pulls out his FBI identification.
Ah, my God, you were the best I ever trained. You are in grave danger. There are men in this town who will likely kill for this object. You must protect yourself, and I must protect myself. It may be best if we do not see each other again for some time. Or, if you do need to find me, let us meet in the science section of the research lab. It is there where a colleague of mine is working on something I already have wanted to show you. A powerful beam of energy. At any rate, we can talk on that more later. For now, you need to get out of here, and so do I. And with that, the professor leaves.
So Roger, heeding the advice of the professor, figures that he is going to need to move up his plan, and instead of waiting till morning to actually, see, he knows that Madeline usually gets in before the professor of languages usually gets in, so he was hoping he'd be able to get in, and talk with her and slip it back in, that he's instead going to now break back into his office and try and leave the tablet there, kind of in like it had been shifted or something, so that he could then claim innocence. So that's what he's doing. He's heading over to the university. and trying to see if he can break in.
As he sort of walks around the corner into the night, Gavers pulls up in front of his abode in the judge's car.
Just missing it.
Jumps out with a sap and a 44.
Just missing them.
Just misses you.
So
And then you're off to your...
I'm off. Yeah, so I'm headed off to the university.
All right. So you get to the university. What happens? Or are you interrupted on your way there?
No, I make it to the university, but I'm having a hard time trying to figure out what are some of the doors to get into, because these are, even though I've been trained in some lockpicking skills, these are really old, heavy doors, so they're a little bit harder for me to get through. So I am basically on the outside trying to either look for a window that's a little bit more ajar or trying to find a door that's a little bit easier to break into.
And you do find a window ajar.
Indeed.
With a pie cooling on it.
And I realize that luckily for me, this is the window that leads to Madeline's front room that then leads into the professor's office. So I open the window and I crawl through. But in doing so, I accidentally knock the pie off the window. I'm very enthusiastic, but not very good at my job. So the pie goes tumbling down into the grass,
inside?
though, so
Into the
it doesn't make any noise, but goes tumbling down to the grass. So he then goes in. He's able to pick the lock, and he's headed in to slip the tablet into the office.
Go for it,
Is
Ken.
it good for him or bad for him?
I think it goes poorly for him.
Roger Morris can't catch a break.
Damn.
No, he can't.
Everything's going wrong.
Get enthusiastic, but not really good at his job. The night watchman. The night watchman has come through and started jiggling the doors, and in doing so, he notices that the professor's door is ajar. It's, "What are you doing in here?" And immediately Roger's...
Second time he's been asked
Second
that
time
tonight.
he's been asked that tonight. Roger's able to at least leave the tablet down there, but the night watchman then says, "You're coming with me," and grabs him and takes him down to the office with the idea that he's going to call the police. Roger feels like it's better to go with him, and that hopefully it won't be reported directly to the professor that somebody was in his office, and that he might be able to come up with a good alibi of why he was there.
So I can have you set the scene for me,
Yep,
right?
we can set the scene for you.
All right, I'm going to elect to do that.
Ooh. You make it to your home,
Mm-hmm.
but on the way you check the third oak from your door.
Exactly.
And in the crook there, where you know this is the drop point, you find an envelope, blood red, with a wax seal in black, and it has the symbol that you know. The symbol that is impossible to describe. And
it hurts your mind
it
to
hurts
look
your
at
mind to look at it. It moves, even though you know it's not moving. And you crack that open, and there's a very simple, like 1, 2, 3 sort of instructions, and it's use the beam, remove the old, bring us into the new generation. And so that's the instruction you're given, and it's written in, like, each line is in a different classic language, the Latin, Sumerian, and Aramaic.
It's a good thing I studied those.
Yep.
Eager and raring to go, head back to the university. Well, actually, no. Let's wait till the morning, because it's a bit late, and it'll be less suspicious if I'm trying to figure out what this beam is. Do I know what the beam is, or do I have a clue what the beam is?
Up to you.
Okay. Not that familiar, but have some idea that it's part of the science area in the research lab. So Skippy trundles off to, after TAing his morning classes, goes off to the research lab to sort of start wandering around, seeing what kinds of research is happening.
And on your way there, you pass the offices where you see, handcuffed to the desk, Roger Morris, who you had met the night before.
Still waiting to get picked up by the sheriff.
The sheriff, exactly. It's
Just
been a long night.
university security is, he's off trying to get some authority.
I'll wander in, sort of recognizing you from the night before as a former student. Sort of, Roger? It's Roger, right?
Yes, Skippy?
Yes.
What was your name? Yes.
What seems to be why are you handcuffed?
Oh, I got myself into a bit of trouble. I had left my... I had been in here earlier to leave a note for one of the professors, and I got flustered, and I had left behind... I thought I had dropped my pocket watch in his office, so I'd come back to see if I could find it, and the night watchman, thought I was breaking in, so he handcuffed me, which is ridiculous, because I'm actually supposed to be working at this university, but nobody knows me here, so...
Oh, that's a shame. Well, what time were you looking for your? Why didn't you just wait till morning?
It was my father's pocket watch, and he'd passed away recently, and I was just worried that, if I didn't go back and get it right away, I just wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't be able to sleep.
I understand.
Yeah.
Ancient things are very important.
Yeah, I guess as a studier of ancient languages, you think they would be.
Have you had anything to eat recently? I believe the Professor Grier's a secretary. She's famous for her pies. She usually leaves one cooling on the windowsill at night for the TAs to sort of share in the morning.
Yeah,
I can get you a slice.
I'm afraid I knocked that down, but if we're lucky, it might have landed okay.
What?
I'm sorry.
But that's the best part of my day. I love Madeline's pie.
If you look out the window, you'll have to see whether or not it landed okay or not. It did land in the grass, so hopefully it's okay. Sorry, old chap, I've had a bad night.
Skippy runs over to the window and stares out the window to see how the pie landed. Hopefully, miraculously, tin side down.
I don't think it... Well, maybe that's
the choice.
the choice.
And since we set the scene for you, you get to decide.
You get to decide
whether it's
going to
go well or
positive or negative.
He's lucky.
Nice.
The happy pie day
Yes.
continues.
Yes, happy pie
Landed
day
well.
continues.
It landed well. Oh, good luck. We're in luck. We're in luck. Skippy vaults out of the window,
Nice.
eager to get pie. Pops back up into the window with the pie. Climbs back through the window.
At least there was one good thing that came out of all this.
Cuts you a slice of pie. And he's like, well, while you wait, have some pie. And starts digging in himself. Cutting himself a slice because there's other TAs that will be wanting pie.
It's almost like people are addicted to this pie. Roger, you see them exhibiting classic symptoms of people who are not going through withdrawals, but are lining up for their daily sort of, I don't even know what dose.
Of something, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. I was going to say, I think Roger...
Madeline's outdone herself.
Yeah.
This pie
Just
is
see how
fantastic.
Roger does with the pie.
Yeah, their eyes gleam maybe a little bit more. They stand a little straighter.
Little dazed slightly while eating pie.
Pie.
All right, the judge is pacing in his parlor. When Gavers... It's morning now. It's well into morning. And Gavers comes in and is hangdog. It's like, I'm sorry, sir. Morris was not there. The man was not there. And did you toss the place? I'm talking to myself.
I know you are.
Did you toss the place? Yes, sir, yes. There was nothing there. There was... I found... Do you think you probably have taken your badge with you?
No, he's not very good at his job. I think he left it.
So I found this, and it's
that's perfect.
He flashes. He shows him the badge.
Yes,
and so the judge
that's
looks at the
perfect.
badge and goes, "This means we're going to have to accelerate things. Is the car still warmed?" And Gaver says, "Yes, sir. Yes. Prepare it. We're going back to Von Thornton's." And we hop in the coach and zip over to Von Thornton's.
Where he is just coming out of his sort of... I think that he lives in a sort of a mini Victorian that that people come by and service for him once a week. He has a gardener and a cleaning lady, and he just sort of lives there by himself and makes tea. I think he probably has a cat or something like that.
And it's like a university
definitely.
property. As well.
He lives on the university for sure. It's it's on-campus housing, if you will, for professors. But he's lived there for years and years. It's like he thinks it's his own place. Just sort of stone-faced, sees the car come up and sort of waves his cane in like a hello, basically, as it comes up to the curb, and he sort of walks over there.
Thornton.
Oh, good morning,
This
Judge
Morris
Roth.
business.
Yes.
It's even more troublesome than I expected.
I looked for him last night to call him, to let him know that he needed to turn himself in to you. And I just couldn't get a hold of him. I'm not sure where he is.
I don't know what sort of business he's up to, but look at this. Hand you
My God. The federals. The federal government here? This does not bode well for either of us.
You don't seem as surprised as I feel you should have been.
I tell you, I'm shocked. I believe it. Roger Morris was one of my best students ever. Perhaps I'm not surprised he is capable of such a thing.
Quite right.
But I will say this. If he finds out about the experiments I've been bankrolling, that we've been bankrolling, at least I had hoped to count on your contribution again. It could spell doom for my research.
I don't know that this beam is quite in line with what we discussed, but I think the other paths that we had been discussing, it's time to accelerate some of those experiments.
Very well. I shall redouble my efforts to find the information you're looking for.
Gavers, give me your pistol. And I take Gaver's pistol and tuck it in my belt and say,
what do you need that for? Are you so worried?
no, unfortunately, I think I may need more than my own gravitas to persuade people to do some things. Listen, I must get to the university.
Well, we still don't know that he stole it, by the way. But now with this badge, I mean, that does send a bad
It's
signal.
more important that he's even poking around to our business. What if he finds out about it?
Could be bad for the town. Oh, Roger, why?
I'm just on edge. Did you happen to pick up one of Miss Madeline's pies? Do you have any?
I was just heading in for the fresh slice this morning. Perhaps you want to join me?
Yes, perhaps.
Come. It'll calm your nerves.
Let's see, is it going to go well or poor for...
Let's figure this out.
No, this isn't going to go well.
All right. So we pull up. We've taken my coach over to get there as quickly as we can. And we get up and we watch as someone has just eaten the last slice of pie.
And who's eating the last slice of pie?
Roger Morris.
Roger Morris is eating the last slice of pie. That's where we'll tilt.
So from here, we're going to generate our tilt. So we've generated our tilts, and one of them is guilt. Greed leads to killing, and the other is failure. A tiny mistake leads to ruin. So we interrupt our story here, and we'll resume in our next communique. I was one of your players, John Holtz. You can find me on Twitter at Lord Joho, or you can find me on Snapchat at NotDeadJohn. Ken, where can people find you?
Man, I love you on Snapchat so much. You can find me, Ken Breeze, on Twitter at Berlingsbeard, Berlings. Sweet blog as well. Sweet nectar of the blogs. You can also find me on G+ at Berlingsbeard.
And you can find me, Stacey, at Stadomo on Instagram, STADOMO.
Steve, where can people find you?
You could find me on the internet at stephenmoverly.com.
To learn more about the players and the engines in our story, visit boardghost.com. You can attempt to pierce the veil and contact us at BoardGhostWorld on Twitter. Shout out through the ether if you have any desires we can fulfill. Leave reviews and comments on iTunes, your preferred listening portal. Please take a moment to subscribe so you don't miss out on the latest episodes. We'd like to thank Pat Couples for our theme song and interlude music. You can find more about Pat at patcouples.tumblr.com or on his band's page, hotelsandhighways.com. If you're not alone in the void, share our stories. The more they are consumed, the truer they become.
If living is a highway, then heaven is a bus stop. Been waiting for a minute there, but has it been forever? don't agree with me.